Now, this is, you could rubber stamp this scenario all across America. You've got a band and they're doing their first record, they're sitting in their project studio, they're producing themselves, and there are inevitable mistakes that people who produce their own work make when they're starting, it's their first record or their second record. What advice can you give in a sort of technical way, whether it's, train your ear to hear what's coming out of your monitors properly, or, when you're mixing down, use near fields? What advice can you give somebody who's sitting in their project studio about to make some sort of beginner mistake producing their own record?
Well, first of all, it's best if they don't produce their own record. And we're not even saying that they should hire a producer. They should at least do a co-producer. But the truth of the matter is, it's like any relationship between an artist and a producer or a record company or a manager. It's like a relationship between a man and a woman. It's not any different. And sometimes you go on a lot of dates and you never really find the person that you wish you want to be with. And once in a while you're lucky and you find that magical person. So I've never really bought into the notion of producing themselves, because you don't have the ability to stand outside yourself and see it for what it is. And where we just were, they're talking about filling a compact disc all up by 70 songs, well, by 70 minutes. But the truth of the matter is, it was the artists. They're the ones that wanted it because they wanted to express themselves. And sometimes you have to sit down with an artist and explain to them that, these 3 songs are great. Next record. Because where you are now, you won't be there 2 years from now. So save it for 2 years. There's different ways to look at it. If it's you that's making the record yourself, everything's in your head. Every decision, every perspective, every color, every lyric, every melody. It's too much. So my advice, find a partner. Find somebody. It doesn't have to even be someone even musical. Some of the greatest record producers in the world are not musical. It's another voice to give you a perspective.
Now, you get a new producer or a new band or a combination of a new band and a new producer. They walk into a studio together and they start having problems, as every band and every producer has in some point in the creative process. And the new band or the new producer starts thinking it's the end of the world. What advice do you have to try and work through those problems, especially when you're still learning your trade and you're still feeling your way through these situations?
Pick your battles. Don't be selfish. And really don't get stuck in the minutia and look at the big picture.
What do you say to a band who comes into the studio and for whatever reason they're not prepared? The drummer doesn't know how to play to a click track. Now I know that you've since evolved beyond dealing with a lot of those lower level acts, but there are new and up and coming bands all the time who will walk in and it's like, well, I've never played to a click before, and now I've got to learn how on studio time, and the money's flying out the window. What do you do in those situations, or what advice do you have for a producer to how to deal with that?
To be in that position would be irresponsible. Irresponsible to the musician, irresponsible to the songs, irresponsible to the band, irresponsible to the money, irresponsible, period. All of those kinds of decisions should be made before you walk into the recorded environment. It's just that simple.
Do you find that some bands don't appreciate the pre-production planning stage of the process as a proper part of making a record early on in the career, or do you find that today?
No, that's true, because it's not romantic. And the artistic brain always wants to be in the romanced and in the romantic perspective, and it's not romantic. So they can't wait to get to the date,